Danta Wright stood in the courtroom with a smile on his face, acting calm and confident as if nothing serious had happened, while Jordan Cle's family sat only a few steps away, holding back tears. Wright laughed and shook his head, showing no sign of guilt for the life he had taken. The room was filled with pain, but his behavior felt careless and arrogant, as if the moment did not matter to him at all. As the family spoke about their loss, Wright remained relaxed, unfazed by every word. Then he spoke, not to apologize, not to show regret, but to say he would be home soon, and that he loved his family. The contrast was shocking. A courtroom meant for justice turned into a scene of disbelief. Every eye was on him. The silence grew heavier. That was the moment when the judge could no longer ignore what was happening.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon, or I'll be Keon. I love my family.
Pine Lake Village Apartments in Ann Arbor, Michigan, was active during the afternoon of October 4th, 2016. Residents were outside and staff were working across the property. Nothing unusual had been reported. The area was known as a student-friendly neighborhood near local schools and housing complexes. No one present expected a violent crime to take place that day. There were no warnings or alerts. Life was moving as usual. A maintenance worker stepped outside after hearing a loud sound near the buildings. He followed the noise toward a walking path. On the ground, he saw a teenage boy lying still. Blood was visible beneath the boy's head. The worker quickly realized the boy had been shot. Emergency services were called. Police and medical responders arrived within minutes. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. He had been shot once in the head. The victim was identified as Jordan Michael Cle. He was 18 years old. Jordan lived near the area where he was found. He was a senior at Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor. On the day he was killed, he was supposed to attend classes. Instead, his life ended before the school day was over. His death immediately drew attention because of his age and location. Jordan was born on July 26, 1998. His father died before Jordan was born. His mother, Karen Cle, raised him alone. She was his only parent throughout his life. Jordan also spent time with his grandfather, who played an important role while he was growing up. Jordan's family focused on education and stability. He grew up in a structured home environment. Jordan attended Pioneer High School. He was enrolled as a full-time student and was on track to graduate.
The victim, a senior at Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, was described as a high-achieving student and football athlete.
Teachers described him as capable and focused on his schoolwork. He balanced academics with extracurricular activities. He was known among classmates and staff as someone who stayed involved and followed expectations. His daily routine centered around school responsibilities and future planning. Jordan played football for his high school team. He trained regularly and participated in scheduled practices and games. His performance earned recognition from his coaches. He received awards related to both academics and athletics. These included recognition for academic performance, as well as student-athlete achievements. His involvement in sports was consistent throughout high school. Jordan showed strong ability in math and science courses. He performed well in physics and related subjects. He expressed interest in engineering as a future career path. He planned to apply to the University of Michigan. His goals were focused on higher education and technical fields. These plans were in place before his senior year ended. At the same time, a separate group of teenagers was moving through the area with different intentions. Danta Wright was part of this group. He spent time with Delrino Gracie and Jermarius Ellison. The three teenagers were connected through shared activities and decisions. Their actions on that day would later become the focus of the investigation. Wright and the other two teenagers planned to commit a robbery. The plan involved confronting a victim and taking property by force. They brought a firearm with them. The robbery was not random. They were actively looking for someone they believed they could overpower. The presence of a gun increased the risk of violence during the plan. Jordan Cle was selected as the target. He was alone at the time. The group believed they could complete the robbery quickly. There was no prior relationship between Jordan and the three teenagers. The decision was based on opportunity rather than personal connection. The group approached Jordan with the intent to rob him. During the encounter, the situation escalated. A firearm was produced. Jordan did not have a weapon. The robbery did not proceed as planned. Within moments, the gun was fired. Jordan was struck in the head. The single gunshot caused fatal injuries. The shooting occurred in an open area near the apartment complex. After the shot was fired, the three teenagers fled the area. They did not contact emergency services. Jordan remained on the ground until he was discovered by the maintenance worker. There was no further interaction between the suspects and the victim after the shooting. The scene was later secured by police. Ann Arbor police began an investigation immediately. Officers collected evidence from the scene and interviewed witnesses. Surveillance footage and communication records were reviewed. The case was treated as a homicide connected to a robbery attempt. Investigators focused on identifying suspects who were in the area at the time of the shooting. Evidence led police to Danta Wright, Delrino Gracie, and Jermarius Ellison. Their movements and communications placed them near the scene. Witness information supported their involvement. Police determined the shooting occurred during an attempted armed robbery. Arrest warrants were prepared based on the collected evidence. Danta Wright was taken into custody by police. He was identified as the person who fired the gun. During questioning, Wright admitted his role in the robbery attempt. He confirmed that the firearm was used during the confrontation. His arrest marked a major development in the investigation. Delrino Gracie and Jermarius Ellison were also arrested. Both were charged for their involvement in the robbery attempt that led to Jordan Cle's death. Investigators determined that all three teenagers played roles in the events leading up to the shooting. The case moved forward based on these arrests. At this stage, the focus remained on the events before and during the shooting. The investigation established how Jordan Cle was targeted, confronted, and killed. The arrests concluded the search for those responsible for the crime itself. Further legal proceedings would follow after this point. Once the three arrests were made, the case moved into the court system. Danta Wright, Delrino Gracie, and Jermarius Ellison were no longer just suspects. They were now defendants facing serious charges connected to the robbery and killing of Jordan Cle. Each was held while prosecutors prepared the case. The investigation had already confirmed what happened, so the focus shifted from searching for suspects to proving responsibility in court. For Jordan's family, the legal process became the next reality they were forced to face. Court hearings began in Washtenaw County. Wright appeared alongside his co-defendants at different stages. Prosecutors outlined the robbery attempt and the shooting. The facts were direct. Jordan Cle was approached, threatened with a gun, and shot during the robbery attempt. There was no claim of self-defense. The court hearings focused on confirming roles and intent. Wright admitted he fired the gun. Gracie and Ellison admitted involvement in the robbery plan. Each decision moved the case forward without the need for a full trial. During a court hearing, Wright was questioned directly about the shooting. The assistant prosecutor asked him what happened during the armed robbery. Wright answered without hesitation. He confirmed that he shot Jordan Cle. When asked where he shot him, Wright stated it was in the head. When asked if the shot killed Jordan, Wright answered yes. The exchange was brief and clear. There was no confusion about what occurred. The courtroom heard the details in simple terms, leaving no doubt about responsibility. As the case progressed, attention shifted to Wright's behavior during court appearances. While Jordan's family sat listening, Wright remained calm. Observers noted that he appeared relaxed during serious moments. He did not show visible emotion when the facts of the killing were discussed. His posture and facial expressions became noticeable to everyone in the room. This behavior stood out as the court moved closer to sentencing. The contrast between the family's grief and Wright's reactions became impossible to ignore. On the day of sentencing, the courtroom was full. Jordan Cle's family members were present. They had prepared statements to explain how his death changed their lives. The court allowed them time to speak. Wright stood before the judge, knowing his sentence would soon be decided. The atmosphere was tense, but quiet. Everyone understood the importance of the moment. The court prepared to hear from those affected most by the crime. Courtney Cle, Jordan's cousin, spoke on behalf of Jordan's mother, Karen Cle. She explained that Jordan was born on July 26, 1998, and was killed on October 4, 2016. She described how Jordan's future ended the moment he was shot. She stated that Jordan could no longer go to college, no longer change his life, and no longer build a future. Each line focused on what was permanently taken away. The statement stayed focused on loss and absence.
Your Honor, my name is Jordan Cle, and I'm Karen's cousin. She's asked me to read this on her behalf.
Sure.
Jordan Michael Cle, born July 26, 1998. Murdered October 4th, 2016, at 18 years old. Jordan has no future. Jordan can no longer choose to go to college. Jordan can no longer choose to change. Jordan can no longer make a difference. Jordan can no longer fall in love or have a family. Jordan no longer has a future.
The statement continued by describing Karen Klee's experience as a mother who lost her only child. She explained that she lost not only her son, but daily life as she knew it. Holidays, birthdays, and ordinary days no longer felt the same. The statement described nights where sleep was difficult and mornings that brought the same realization again. The words described a life permanently altered by a single act of violence. The courtroom remained silent as the statement was read.
I've lost my only child, my son, my baby, my friend. More than that, I've lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life. As a mother, or any parent ages, her children are there to care for her. But now in my life, I walk this journey alone. I no longer have that luxury because that was carelessly and cruelly taken from me. I no longer get to see the smile of my son when he walks through the door and brings me a Frosty from Wendy's at the end of his shift. The simple pride of a hard work shift and bringing his mom something that just makes her happy. Songs we used to enjoy, I can no longer listen to. Movie nights we did together no longer exist. I could continue with all the loss. I won't. This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare that no parent should ever endure.
The statement addressed Wright directly. It questioned why Jordan was chosen and why his life was taken. It described how Wright continued to live while Jordan could not. The words expressed anger, pain, and frustration without restraint. The statement made clear that no explanation could justify the shooting. The message focused on the imbalance between a life ended and a life that continued behind bars. The court allowed the statement to be completed without interruption.
On the nights I managed to sleep, I wake up hearing my son scream for me, to then have to realize all over again, night after night, my son is dead, gone, taken. For what? Why? Can you answer the question? Why? Why? I have an answer. Your answer will never be good enough. There will never be an answer good enough to satisfy why you shot my son. Why you thought that what you had should be yours. Why you felt that what you wanted, you were entitled to. Why you thought his death was an acceptable response to your jealousy or desire to what he had. Drugs, clothes, money, jewelry, phones, shoes, whatever it was that you felt you needed more than his life. Your why will never be better than his life. Your want will never trump my son's death. You get to live, get to wake up every day. Your life continues. I sincerely hope that whatever it was you wanted so badly that you felt the need to murder my son was worth the next at least 52 years of your continued existence.
As the family statement was read, Wright reacted in a way that shocked many people in the courtroom. He smiled and appeared to laugh at moments. His expression did not change when painful details were shared. This behavior was noticed immediately. Members of the court, including the judge, observed Wright's reactions closely. The moment became one of the most talked about aspects of the case. The reaction raised questions about understanding, remorse, and awareness. When Wright was given the opportunity to speak, his statement was brief. Instead of addressing the family or the crime, he spoke about himself. He said he would be home soon and told the court that he loved his family. He did not mention Jordan Cle. he did not acknowledge the loss described moments earlier. The statement ended quickly. The courtroom reacted with silence and disbelief.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon, or R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
That's all you got to say.
Judge David Swartz responded immediately to Wright's behavior. He addressed Wright directly and described his concern. The judge stated that in more than 20 years, he had never considered rejecting a sentencing agreement in this way. He explained that Wright's smiling, laughing, and dismissive behavior made the crime appear meaningless to him. The judge openly questioned whether the plea agreement was appropriate given Wright's conduct in court.
You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties, but watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement, we'll go to trial, and if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do. Mr. Bella, do you want me to accept this sentence agreement?
Your Honor, may we approach person?
Yes.
The judge went further and explained what could happen if the plea agreement was rejected. He stated that Wright could be sent to trial and face a felony murder conviction. The judge explained that such a conviction could result in prison for the rest of Wright's life. He made it clear that Wright's behavior was the reason this option was being considered. The warning was direct and serious, changing the mood of the courtroom instantly. After the judge's comments, the court took a brief recess. During this time, Jordan Cle's family made a request. They asked that the case not go to trial. They stated they wanted the process to move forward without extending the pain. The decision was not based on leniency, but on exhaustion and the desire to avoid reliving the events again. The court respected their request and resumed proceedings. Wright's defense attorney addressed the court after the recess. He apologized on Wright's behalf. He explained that Wright suffered from emotional and mental issues. He stated that smiling was not meant as disrespect, but as a response to stress. The attorney said Wright had been evaluated in juvenile court and by mental health professionals. He argued that Wright's behavior did not reflect a lack of seriousness, but a lack of understanding. Outside the courtroom, Wright's mother spoke to reporters. She stated that she was sorry for the Cle family's loss. She said her own son was also supposed to graduate that year. She described the situation as painful for everyone involved. She explained that Wright had mental health conditions and was supposed to be on medication. She claimed that he had not received proper treatment while in custody.
What do you think about his reaction during the statements that were made in the court that the judge seemed to be
upset about?
Yeah, tell me what you think.
What upsetted me was I'm sorry for her loss, just as well as mine. My son was supposed to graduate this year too, and I mean it's just bad all the way around. So that's just how I feel.
Wright's mother explained that smiling was something her son had done since childhood when he was in trouble. She stated that it was not a sign of disrespect or joy. According to her, it was how he reacted when overwhelmed or confused. She emphasized that he did not fully understand the weight of the situation. Her statements focused on explanation rather than denial of the crime.
The smiling does not have nothing to do with slack of what, how can I say it?
That's just how he handles everything.
That's how he handles everything. As a child, if he was in trouble,
he'll just look at you and smile.
He's gonna smile at you.
Knowing he's in trouble, but still.
The court proceeded with sentencing based on the plea agreement. Wright was sentenced for second-degree murder, armed robbery, and a felony firearm charge. The sentence totaled 23 to 50 years in prison. The sentence reflected the seriousness of the crime while honoring the agreement made earlier in the case. The courtroom remained quiet as the sentence was announced.
Armed robbery, count 3, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, count 6, the felony firearm, and an added count 7 of murder in the second degree under PAC code 750.317. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. In exchange for that plea, at the time of sentencing, the people moved to dismiss counts 1, 4, and 5. There is a sentence agreement in this case. The sentence agreement is that on counts 2, 3, and 7, the defendant will serve 23 to 50 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Delreno Gracie and Jermarius Ellison were also sentenced for their roles in the crime. Each received prison sentences ranging from 15 to 40 years. Both had pleaded guilty. Gracie apologized to both his family and Jordan Cle's family.
First, I'd like to apologize to my family, especially my mother. She wanted and strived to help me do better. And I continue to make the same mistakes that she wished that I never made. And to the victim and his family, I'd like to apologize too. That's it.
Ellison apologized to his own family, but did not address Jordan's family. Their sentencing hearings followed the same structure, with the court focusing on accountability and involvement. As the proceedings ended, there was no celebration and no relief. Jordan Cle's family left the courtroom carrying the weight of what had been said and heard. Wright was escorted away to begin serving his sentence. The court cleared, but the impact of the case remained. Every statement, reaction, and decision became part of the public record, marking the final chapter of the legal process tied to Jordan Cle's death. What happened in that courtroom left many people asking hard questions about justice, remorse, and accountability. A young life was taken, a family was shattered, and the behavior shown afterward only deepened the pain. This case forces us to look at how actions before and after a crime can leave scars that never heal. If this story affected you, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think true remorse matters in the courtroom, or should actions alone decide everything? If you want more real cases told clearly and honestly, subscribe to the channel, hit like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story.